Good morning and welcome back, guys. I'm Julia Williams again from Callaway Smith, and it's glad to see you this morning. I hope that you have had an awesome time learning this online season, and it's getting better, although we're almost done. Last week, we continued our lessons on comparing and contrasting text. Well, today we're moving on to something a little bit different. See if you can take a stab at it. So we're looking at the argument. What is an argument? Are arguments always bad? Well, let's stop for a second and think about that. Arguments are not always bad. Sometimes they're good. They don't necessarily result in a fist fight or an altercation. An argument can simply be two people arguing valid points to get their point across. Let's find out what we're going to do today. So our objective today, we're going to evaluate an argument and specific claims in a text. After we look at that text, we're going to attempt to become writers and do it on our own. So we're going to write an argument to support claims with clear reasons and relevant evidence. Here are some things we need to know before we dig in. First of all, what is a claim? Well, it is your argument. It is the writer's stance or the overall argument. It's what you believe and how you feel, what you think about something in particular. Secondly, when you make that argument, you state your claim, you got to back it up with a reason, the why. Why do you feel so strongly about that? So your reasons are the main points that use logic or reasoning to justify the writer's claim. Thirdly, we need data. Well, what is that? It's evidence, facts. You got to prove it. You can't just make a statement. You got to back it up with proof. With that being said, we got to combine this information. We got to put it together, and that is called the joint. This is the bridge that connects your data to your reasons and your claim. After you make your claim, you give your reasons, and you have your proof, there's going to always be a naysayer, someone that's going to counteract what you said. This is called the counterclaim. Think of it as if you ask mom for something. 9 times out of 10, she's probably going to tell you what? No, you are correct. So what are you going to do about that? That's the counterclaim. Now, most children, we don't end at no. You got to have something to come behind it, which is your rebuttal. What are you going to say to bring it home? If they told you no, for instance, if you asked for sweets before you had dinner, 9 times out of 10, mom's going to say no. But what are you going to say, to counteract what she said? Well, if I finish all of my dinner, is it okay for me to have it then? Then she's got something to think about. She may consider it. Let's get started. So we're going to look at a piece of text first. This text is titled Today's Lesson, Hip Hop by Anita Perry. I know you like that subject. Year after year, most literature classes cover the same authors and genres. It's time that educators made a change. For teachers to keep current and engage students, we must allow students to read diverse texts from their own generation. As a first step, hip hop should be included in the literature curriculum. I bet you're interested in that. This suggestion is not as odd as it may seem. After all, hip hop is simply another form of poetry, as are all song lyrics. The verses of hip hop have rhyme schemes, rhythms, and meters. In addition, hip hop lyrics deal with the same timeless themes as other forms of poetry, including heartache and the challenges of growing up. In many ways, today's hip hop artists are contemporary versions of William Shakespeare and Emily Dickinson, only with a modern, fresh perspective. So with a little twist. Now, in reading these first 2 paragraphs of this article, the author's argument? Does she back it up with reasons and evidence? Let's find out. So if we look at the first paragraph, we got into the heart of the topic. Her argument is that hip hop should be included in the literature curriculum. Now, as I stated before, I bet you like that topic. I bet that would be fun for you. That would be some, time to think about for me as a teacher. And, I got to really think about this. But I know it would interest you, so I will consider it. Now, let's see if she brought it on home. Did she give us reasons? The why. We want to know, why does she feel this way about this argument? Why did she make this claim? Well, that would be our first reason. She stated that hip hop is simply another form of poetry. And it is. How do we know that? Well, we do need to back that up. We need some proof. Well, she did give us some. She stated that the verses of hip hop have rhyme schemes, rhythms, as well as meters. Well, it does. A lot of songs may have started off as a line of poetry and ended up being a song lyric. Now, since we've identified our first reason and we've proved it with evidence, let's look for more. The second reason that she gave for wanting to include literature in the new curriculum, she stated that hip hop lyrics deal with the same timeless themes. Well, you know what a theme is. We reviewed that 2 weeks ago. A theme is a message, a lesson, something that you're supposed to get out of the text. Well, when I think about it, every song, every hip hop rap song I've heard as well, they're teaching us something. We're learning something behind it. We're learning how maybe they felt when they were with their first love, maybe how they grew up, maybe someone hurt their feelings. So her proof, her evidence for this reason is that it includes heartache and challenges of growing up. So a lot of these hip hop songs include these two particular themes. Now, with that being said, we have two reasons that we've identified as well as evidence. We've proved it. But keep in mind, there's always a naysayer. I'm a teacher as well, so I may be a little negative on this topic. Your parents may also feel the same. Your principal might feel the same as well, because we're headstrong on the curriculum and Common Core, and we need you to learn and learn well. So, what could someone else say that would be negative, that counterclaim? Well, they may believe that this particular thing, this is kind of odd, it's strange. We don't do this, we've never done this before. What would be your rebuttal? Well, her rebuttal here, she stated that it's not as odd as it may seem. She goes on to prove that by going over those reasons and her evidence. Let's keep reading. Third paragraph. Examining hip hop song in class may help teachers identify more closely with their students' interests, cultures, and life experiences. The subject matter of lyrics of some hip hop songs may be objectionable, but teachers can find plenty of acceptable options to explore. Additionally, teachers can help students think critically about the lyrics and messages of their favorite songs. Exploring hip hop will strengthen students' analytical skills and their ability to connect old and new forms of literature. Our students will therefore become more engaged, challenged, and informed. Good. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to like her claim. I feel deep about it. Let's look at that first paragraph here. What is the author's reason behind her claim here? Well, she states that these hip-hop songs, if we're doing them in class, the teachers can identify with their students a little closer. They can relate to their cultures and their life, and as well as interests. Now, definitely, if you're talking about hip-hop in the classroom, it does relate to students. They're excited about that. They could have been falling asleep, especially in my reading class. But if we're talking about hip hop and songs and things that they're interested in, I think they'll probably perk up. Well, prove that. Evidence here states that this can give teachers plenty of acceptable options to explore. So, if they have 3 avenues, for instance, meaning their interests, the cultures, their life experiences, they can go a little bit deeper and relate to each and every individual. Now, of course, there's always a naysayer. They may say that this is objectionable, meaning it may not be appropriate for the classroom. Every hip hop song, of course, is definitely not appropriate in the classroom. But this is where a teacher comes in. Teachers can find acceptable options to explore. Well, sometimes we have songs called the clean version. Definitely. So we can explore other avenues. Now, this last paragraph, this is our summary. This is your conclusion. Hint, that is what a conclusion is. It is a summary of the entire text. So she goes in here and she states additionally, that is an awesome transition word. She's letting you know I have more to say, but yet I'm wrapping it up. So adding to everything I've already stated, all of my reasons, additionally, teachers can help students think critically about those lyrics. In other words, everything that we do in class, in our language arts and reading classes, we're analyzing the text. We're breaking it down for, yes, a deeper understanding. So this is awesome because we can really break that text down. Now, in general, here's our claim. Our claim, or her claim, was that hip hop should be included in the literature curriculum in schools. She gave 3 reasons. Her first reason was that hip hop is a form of poetry. And when we're doing my poetry reviewing in my classroom, we relate to that. We understand, we know that it is the same. The second reason she gave is that the lyrics deal with important themes. They give messages. We're learning something from it. And last but not least, her third reason stated that teachers can better relate to their students' experience by maybe incorporating those hip hop songs into the classroom. Now, with all of those reasons, she also gave her evidence. The first evidence that she gave about it being a form of poetry is that poetry contains those rhyme schemes, rhythms, as well as meters. Her second part of her evidence was that they deal with the topics of heartache and growing up. Last but not least, teachers can find acceptable options to explore, meaning they can also tie it into the classroom, but bring it in where it's appropriate for students in the school. With that being said, the argument. Now, she stated her claim. She gave an awesome argument. One thing we have not discussed. We discussed whether or not arguments can be good or bad. Also, there's one particular profession. They argue all day. This is what they do for a living. Yes, you're correct. It is a lawyer. This is what they do. They're arguing claims. They're giving valid points and reasons. And of course, they have to have evidence. They definitely have to have facts. The opposite, the other lawyer in the courtroom is going to always give the counterclaim. They're going to say the opposite of what they're saying. So let's take a stab at it. Let's attempt to do this on our own. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? Video games should not be considered a sport. Well, I agree with that. It definitely should not be considered a sport. You're not doing anything. You're just sitting there. There's no movement. There's nothing physical besides your hands or your little fingers. Maybe that's it. What about this one? Things we learn in school matter in real life. Now, I agree with this. Everything we learn in school, it does matter in real life. It's the reason why you're in school. You're doing this all the time. It does play a role. I teach my students, especially in the reading class, because I believe reading is, most important, because you got to be able to read to do anything. You got to be able to read to do a math problem. It kind of goes into play. So even if I'm walking down the street, I see signs, I have to read them. If I'm driving, I have to read those signs. Even if I just wanted to purchase something and I want to know how many calories are on that package, I have to be able to read and comprehend it. What about this statement? School is designed more for girls than boys. I don't know about that one. I don't think I have a decision here. But I can say that it may be designed a little more for girls. Students are distracted by technology. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? I agree with this statement. I believe that students are very much distracted by technology. You play games all the time. And if you're not at home playing a game, yes, you're playing on your cell phone. So technology is a big deal. What about this one? Do you agree or disagree that junk food should be sold in schools? I know you agree with that. I don't know about this one. I'm kind of undecided. I agree if I'm hungry and I want a snack, but I disagree because I know that some of these things get you a little extra excited and you may not do my work. I need you focused. Now, with all that being said, let's look at every topic we just went over. Make a decision. Pick one of those topics. I'm going to do one for you. I believe I'm going to go with the second one maybe. So we're going to complete a quick write. We're going to support our claim with our opinions, meaning our reasons and our facts, our evidence. Very good. Now, here are some phrases that we need to incorporate into our writing. These are good transition starters. Some people think. Everybody knows. And I'm not sure, but maybe. Now, these are very good sentence starters, and we'll try to incorporate some of that into our writing. Also, we can use words like this. Everyone, for sure, never, and always. Now, a lot of these words definitely are good transitions, but they're also based on our opinions as well. Now, let's make a claim. Video games, yes. So my claim is that video games should not be considered a sport. Sports require lots of physical activities, and video games do not. Everyone knows that video games aren't actually sports. Video games are something anyone at any age level can do. I definitely believe that statement. Why? I have a 1-year-old at home. She can do as much on her tablet or the Nintendo DS, even an Xbox, as my 16-year-old son. And it didn't take me sitting down teaching her how to do it. She just knows it's easy, it's nothing. Just pick it up and start clicking. Let's continue. Activities like football, baseball, and basketball are real sports. They require a lot of physical training and energy to do. We certainly don't need a bunch of couch potatoes walking around. It doesn't take a lot of effort to play a video game. All you need is 2 hands. Sometimes 1, depending on what game you're using. On the other hand, transition, I can understand why people think video games are a sport. It requires competition involving athletic ability, practice, and physical activity. Video games doesn't require a lot, just coordination. This would be the same as being coordinated to throw a baseball or shoot a basketball. A video gamer might say that it takes coordination to strike at the right time. Syncing the technique they use on their controller with whatever their eyes see unfolding in front of them. Now, with all that being said, I've made my claim. I've backed it up. I've given reasons as well as evidence. I also threw in a little counterclaim, the naysayers. Now, what reason do I have for stating that video games should not be considered a sport? Well, I stated that sports require lots of physical activities. Video games do not. You got to actually get up and move. Now, my son plays video games 24/7. I don't think he's ever sweated by playing a video game. He'll sweat from walking around the house if I make him clean up. That's movement. He's doing something. He goes outside and run. He's going to show the physical activity, and you'll see it because he's sweating. When you're playing a video game, the worst thing that probably could happen is you get upset because you lost. Yeah. Now, my next reason was that video games are something that anyone at any level can do. Anybody can play a video game. It's not that difficult. Thirdly, it doesn't take a lot of effort to play a video game. Nothing. I can do it with my eyes closed. Now, once you've made your claim, you've given reasons, I want you to go back through your text. Pick out a sentence, your wow sentence. What were you most excited about? What sentence did you write that you felt that was the best thing I've ever done? I believe it's this sentence here. We certainly don't need a bunch of couch potatoes sitting around. I don't want to see that. Just big, you're taking up too much space on my couch, you're wearing it out. Now, with all that being said, don't forget, I want you to pick one of those topics and give me a quick write. Write for 5 minutes. That's all it takes. Within 5 minutes, you should have at least a paragraph completed, meaning you've stated your claim, you've given at least 3 reasons, and you've backed it up with some evidence. Let's wrap up our lesson. Today, we evaluated an argument with specific claims in a text. That was a text about hip hop. Then we composed our own. We wrote an argument to support the claims with clear reasons and relevant evidence. Those steps include claim, your reasons, evidence to support it, that's your data. The counterclaim. The counterclaim is what the naysayers would say about it. And after that, your rebuttal. What are you going to say to bring it home? Guys, I have enjoyed you so much. You have been awesome. I know that you are learning and you're showing maybe possibly younger brothers and sisters, even older brothers and sisters. Sometimes they may not get everything, and sometimes we learn from others. I hope you're staying safe. Be good, obey your parents, help out around the house a little bit more. See you next week. Be prepared, have your notes ready, and we're going to wrap this thing up. Have a good week. Goodbye.